Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I want to go over what is the basic Get Rich Slow plan. And it is simple and elegant and decidedly boring. That's why I call it the Get Rich Slow plan. And no, I'm not the first person to call something that. And this isn't my original idea, but that's fine because us humans, the way we evolved is just ripping off each other's ideas and then expanding on them. So anyways, Get Rich Slow. What's that mean? How does it work? So the best wealth building tool consistently for Americans for the last 100 years or so is home ownership. That is for a couple reasons. First, you need somewhere to sleep, and in a normal mortgage payment, let's say it's $2,000 a month, $500 of that goes to taxes and insurance, $500 of that goes to interest, $1,000 of that goes to principal. Well, what's that? Well, basically, one way of thinking about it is that's just a savings account. So instead of paying, $1,800 a month for rent and having a little bit less liability, you can pay $2,000 a month, but $1,000 of that doesn't really go away. It stays yours. So over time, that's a really big deal. Now, let's compare owning a home as an investment compared to the main investment other people actually do. And this is good, I do this. And that's getting some kind of an index fund or a normal mutual fund. Now, normally speaking, on any long span of time, you should expect a mutual fund or an index fund to make 6-7% growth a year every year. That's great. That can be one of the big foundations of your retirement. And if you're doing this Get Rich Slow plan, that should actually be a decent chunk of your safety net. All right. So the difference between that and home ownership is, let's say you are buying, and let's just make the math easy. Let's say you're buying a $100,000 home. And you're doing the normal 5% down that most of my clients do because it's kind of the best deal, all things told. So you do that, you put 5% down. Now, home prices this last year, it's insane. It's like 12% nationally. In the Portland metro area, it's been 9 to 11% many years of increase of value of a home. But let's go way down and talk about a bigger historic average. Let's say it's only 3%, right? Well, let's say you took that $5,000 and you bought that $100,000 home and it made only 3% a year. And I'm just going to make the math kind of simple. So let's fast forward 3 years later, $100,000, 3% a year. You made a little more than $9,000. Pretty respectable. Let's say you took that same $5,000 and you got in that great 7%, growth stock mutual fund. Good stuff. I'm not actually talking shit about that. It's good stuff. Okay, so you put $5,000 in, 7%, so that's 5 times 7, that's $35. You made $35 your first year. And then let's just say, sort of roughly speaking, it compounds a little faster than it should. In that same 3 years, you made $100. Do you feel great? Actually, sorry, that'd be like 110. My bad. 105, 110. Anyways, you're comparing about $100 to $9,000. Well, which one would you have? I would rather have the $9,000. And I am willing to bet that the normal maintenance on that house is going to be less than that $9,000. And again, you need a place to live anyways. And the normal maintenance on that mutual fund is probably going to be zero. But in any case, even if you have like $8,000 of work you need to do on that house, you're going to be $900 ahead in 3 years. There's just no way to make that mutual fund seem like a better idea. Now, hold on, you amazing day trader investment gurus. I am fully aware that there are options and short sales and other financial instruments which could theoretically give you a much better return than 6 or 7% a year. But we are both fully aware that most working people don't do those. And we're also both fully aware that while they are fantastic means of making a lot of money, they're also fantastic means of losing all of your money. So I don't recommend those to anybody, and I don't do them myself because I think that the gains I can get on real estate are better. I've spent all this time just talking about your single home ownership. So what is actually the get rich slow plan? Well, if you want to join my club, you raise your right hand and say, I state your name, want to own 5 to 10 properties in the next 5 to 10 years. Wow. Okay. So let's talk about that and how we do that. So we just went over the math for the house, right? $100,000 house, 5% down, gains 3% a year. Now, let's imagine that you have enough income or do enough odd jobs and beg, borrow, and steal that you can come up with another 5% down every year or every 2 years or whatever. But so you buy that first house, 5% down. Even if you have more cash, a lot of time I still think you should put 5% down, especially if you want to do this plan. So you put 5% down, get your first house. 1 year later, you can close on another home, 5% down again. Don't sell the home you're leaving. Move, rent it. Your goal on the rent is to realistically break even within the first 5 years. I mean, the first 5 years pay for themselves completely. That's really your goal. If you can earn income, fantastic. But to me, that's not even a goal because that, $100 a month I could be getting from the rent on that $100,000 house, that's money. I like that. If, positive money, that's a good thing. But that's nothing compared to the $3,000 of appreciation it's getting every year, right? And the cool thing is as a single individual in Washington or a married couple in Washington, if you go on the loans together, you can actually get 10 mortgages at 5% down over 10 years. And move, rent it behind you, move, rent it behind you. And now you have, let's go back to the other example. Now you have 10 houses that are each getting $3,000 of appreciation a year. That's $30,000 a year. And your initial buy-in to that $30,000 a year is $50,000. Now, obviously, I made up all these numbers. It's not going to really work like that. It's probably going to work out a lot better, actually. But that kind of gives you an idea because it's a very stable, reasonable investment if you retain the cash that you never bust. Now, let's talk about busting really quick. So if you can get 10 properties and you can hold on to them for the first 15, 20 years, you're probably home free, generally speaking. And what I mean is, there's almost no world where in the last 100 years, you could have bought a home, retained it for 20 years, and then not sold it for a profit. A huge one, probably. But there are economic ups and downs, and you're not guaranteed to get rent from every property every month. In fact, it's not going to happen every time. And hopefully you don't have too bad of a bad spell. So I would recommend, again, I said, even if you have more money, you should only put 5% down. I would recommend that you keep $10,000 per door you're renting in a cash equivalent that is relatively safe. Now, you might invest some of it, but you should invest it in things that the value can't be cut in half in a year. At least you shouldn't be investing all of it that way. And as you get more, you can even invest in things that people call counter-cyclic. So there are certain types of investments that when the Dow Jones Industrial Average gets cut in half, they tend to double. So figuring out, talk to your financial planner, figure out something that makes sense. But the real goal is not to make money on the stock market. At least it's not my real goal. My real goal is to make money on the real estate. And I just sort of have this side thing going in the stock market, which I use to keep the get rich slow rolling and keep it secure. Does that make sense? Anyways, I hope you like this. Hit the like button if you didn't like it. Smash the dislike button twice. Have an awesome day. Like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.